More Laugh-A-Palooza. So our next guest has made a career out of something that most people think would hold him back. Like if you're sitting there going, I'm too quirky or inappropriate, I can't, well, guess what? It can work, right? And she's got a sense of humor that's been described as somewhere between intellectual and depraved. Amy Sedaris is in the red chair next. Here's her bio. One thing about Amy Sedaris, her humor isn't for everyone. People generally laugh out loud or they don't. But in a way, that's what Amy wants. That's why her fans love her. Forget the middle-of-the-road mainstream stuff. She's a little bit more offbeat, slightly irreverent. You know, the comedy that sometimes makes people uncomfortable and offend others. Her best-known role, cult hit on the Comedy Channel, Strangers with Candy.
My friends were dealers, cons, and 18-carat pimps.
Amy made it with a couple of old Second City pals, Paul Dinello and some guy named Stephen Colbert. Basically, it was a satire on the after-school special, and Amy plays an ex-junkie, ex-prostitute, ex-con who's funny, gross, and pretty much always inappropriate.
Hey, Gonzo!
Oh! That role made her fans out of everyone from David Letterman to Sarah Jessica Parker, which led to appearances on Sex and the City. Plus a bunch of films including Made in Manhattan, Shrek the Third, and Jennifer's Body. Amy has also written several plays with her brother David. Yes, Amy Sedaris is related to David Sedaris, the famous humor writer. She's also written a few books of her own. Her last one was A Hilarious Guide to Entertaining. It gave Martha Stewart a run for her money. 12 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. Her new one is obviously a satirical tongue-in-cheek one. It's called Simple Times, Crafts for Poor People. Everybody, please welcome to the program, Amy Sedaris. Nice to see you. How are you? Have a seat. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Happy to
So
have
wait
you.
a minute, you're all Greek, 100% Greek?
No, half. Greek and Ukrainian.
Was your dad?
My
Oh,
dad,
Ukrainian.
My dad's Greek, yeah, my mom's Ukrainian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we can go on. Just checking.
Just want to make sure you get my ethnic credentials
That's right.
down.
This should be quick.
Simple Times, Crafts for the Poor People.
Yes.
Nice. Tell me about the olden days, your fascination. Do you have a fascination with the olden
days?
Yeah.
Maple Grove, Mama's hands. No, I'm not into the olden days at all. I mean, I touched on it in the beginning of this book,
sure
just
did?
by getting back to a simpler time. But I don't want to go back to I mean, those big stoves and, no, I just...
When did you, the idea of going to the simpler times, when did you think about it?
Well, just like just being resourceful and making things out of necessity. In that respect, I mean, a simpler time. You know, you need it, you just make it. That's the attitude.
And it's, obviously it's a funny book and there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek moments in it, but we live in a time where the economy is so brutal in a sense.
Hey, man,
Yeah.
hey, I didn't come on this show to get, no, you know. Yeah, I know, tough times.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people are at home making things rather than, what else are they gonna do? Yeah. Drink.
Was that?
Smoke pot. I mean, you can still do that in craft.
You sure
now
can.
you're just doing stuff with your hands and your mind can think about what you wish you were doing.
We are far removed from that generation, though, where you actually did work with your hands, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
When you grew up, were you around it? Did you see it happen?
No, not at all. Well, no. I mean, growing up, I was in Girl Scouts and Junior Achievements, and I learned to craft then, and,
Was your mom crafty? Was your dad handy or crafty?
Yeah, we all did something. My dad liked to paint. My mom made things. Everyone in my family,
Did your dad like to paint canvas or walls?
He likes to paint both.
Oh, he does,
painted
really?
both, yes. A little bit of both.
Was that sort of the artistic inspiration for some of your career?
No, I don't think so. I just think coming from a large family and just us sitting around trying to be really funny and trying to, our timing came from that, you know what I mean? Sure. If you're sitting around the dinner table, you wanted to get in there with a joke or whatever. That's probably where it started.
Did you guys have to go to other families to work on your material at lunch and then come back and try it at the dinner table?
No, we went to old folks' homes.
You did?
We did. We put on shows at old folks' homes and knock them dead. That was our,
How old were you when you did that?
Oh, gosh, 21. No, I don't know, maybe 10 to, those years, 10, 11, 12, something like that.
Were you comfortable with performing at that age, or did you have to get
Yes, and comfortable performing for old people. Yeah, I felt comfortable both.
You didn't, no fear of being judged, I suppose?
Not at all. They were going to die. What are they going to say?
Well, there's a lot of, in the work that you do, I mean, when you take on these characters, when you play these women that don't look like you, and, there's a sort of safety in that. How do you feel like when you get on a television show and you're not playing somebody who's got a huge costume?
I'd rather hide behind something. It's just more fun, It's a lot more fun. I mean, when you're just yourself, it's just like, bring a book kind of a feel, You do it all the time, so it's fun. I like having something to hide behind, and it just gives me something to play with. Like if I have a hump, or a mole, and it's like, yay, and then I'll just, somehow everything just comes alive.
Just one day he thought, you know, it'd be nice to play behind. How about if I look like Jesus?
Yeah.
Which is what you do in this part.
Yes, Crafting for Jesus. And I woke up one morning, that title just came to me.
Crafting for Jesus.
Yes, it did. And then to make the, to achieve the look, I saved all the hair from my hairbrush for 6 months, and I kept it in a jar. And then I applied it to my face using toupee tape. And then I filled in the gaps with eye pencil.
Right.
I look fantastic.
You do look a lot like Jesus in there.
Yeah, I look just like Jesus. I do.
No, I know. I watched it. I
Yeah.
was reading it. I went, well, we'll show up pictures. Take a look. This is her as Jesus right now.
Oh, yeah, you have it? I look like Jake Gyllenhaal. Oh, you
look
can't
like Jake Gyllenhaal.
I look like Jake Gyllenhaal. He looks just like Jesus, too. Or Melissa Etheridge. She looks like Jesus.
Jake Gyllenhaal looks like Melissa Etheridge, who looks like Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really, really terrible visual. I was curious with you about political satire and how it's changed over the years. I know that. No, hold on.
No, I'm just kidding.
20 years ago, right?
Okay.
It was the audience was different, and their access to satire was different. And I wonder if political satire has changed or evolved the way it needs to currently.
That's an excellent question, Yorgo, George. But I don't really know. I mean, I guess, you know, I don't know the answer to that question, but I just know that things are changed. You get away with more now. That's all I can think of. You know what I mean? It's just going to be even more years from now.
Can you have the same impact? Because there's so much more of it, and it seems, you know, we live in that kind of backlash world, you know, where after a certain amount of time, they're like, yeah, whatever. And
Right, so then you go back to the beginning, I would think. Then you just start from the scratch and then see. I'm not saying Charlie Chaplin days, but maybe, you know, I always find that going back to the beginning is like, you know, go there first before somebody else does.
Maybe the Smothers Brothers era, right, where they did seemingly primetime family variety, but they actually were really political.
But variety shows don't work right now. I don't really know why. People have tried to, you know, recreate them, but they just haven't worked out.
Has the culture changed?
I guess. I mean,
viewership?
I guess they, yeah, of course it's changed.
What did you make of, I know you worked with Colbert ages ago. I know they pulled it off with the Rally for Sanity. What did you think about that?
Well, I was just starting my tour at the time, so I didn't go to the rally. But I know that him and John were really excited about it. And Colbert says billions of people. That was funny. You know, but I thought it was a great idea. And even Oprah got involved. I mean, it was huge. It was gigantic.
What I'm fascinated by you is the idea of the women you play. We talked earlier about you choosing something that's more fun to get behind a costume. Is it ever about dealing with the way women are generally represented in the media? Is there any deeper?
I'm not a political. I don't think anything like that. I just do what I like to do, and all I like to do is dress up and look like other people. And I like playing ugly people that think they're attractive, but all my characters like themselves.
Right.
So I mean, that's just my game, you know. But I never think of anything deeper than that.
But didn't you grow up in a house where your old man was really fixated on how you guys looked?
Yes, my dad's very weight conscious. He'll be the first. I just did Letterman not too long ago, and he's like, I saw you in Letterman, I thought you looked fat. I mean, that's what he said to me. Yeah. And he goes, I guess the cameras can add pounds. I'm like, whatever, Dad. It doesn't bother me. It just never affects me, what he has to say about it.
And
you know,
it never
just
did?
Go on.
And it never did when you were a kid?
No, it doesn't, because it's just like, whatever, you're crazy. You're crazy.
Well, how about the rest of your siblings?
Some people in my family are sensitive to it, but my brothers, my little brother Paul and my older brother David and I, somehow it just never, you know, affected us.
Paul has an amazing contribution to one of the books. Bucket is maybe one of my favorite things.
Oh, from I Like It, yes. Yeah. And then he did the, it's a roach clip made from a crab claw. It's really good craft. I use it all the time.
The crab claw roach. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, wow, it's over?
Really appreciate it.
Hey, nice meeting you. Thank you.
Christmas gifts, you want to be creative? Here's the book, Simple Times, Craft for Poor People, Amy Sedaris. Drama.com is the website. We'll see you next time.